We're back here on the platform speaking about youth and getting involved in music and other disciplinary things with Mr. Beckford and Mr. McLean. How are young people in New Providence reacting to your band?
According to the natives, according to people like Ruby Saunders and the persons affiliated with Ruby Saunders and the parents that have attended, they've seen a remarkable change in their kids. Just coming to the rehearsal and seeing their child sit there for 4 hours attentively is remarkable for a parent. And sometimes I laugh because I look at the parents and saying, that's my kid. And so I think the response has been good. I think it's been excellent, actually. But they haven't seen anything yet. My goal is to establish a national honors band here in the Bahamas that will be second to none in the world. That will be a mentorship program that other youth, when they see their fellow comrade in a band like that, they was like, man, I have to be in that one day, man. I want to take that band through the help of the natives, my wife who's a native, and everyone else here that really wants to see a difference made. I want to take those kids to New York. I want to take them to the Macy's Day Parade. I want to take them to Pasadena for the Rose Bowl, because that kind of exposure helps them to understand it's possible. It helps them to understand that it's worth. You got to give kids things that are tangible to show them that the time I spent here really equated to something. And I think a band of that nature, where those kids are excelling, getting scholarships to go to school. I have a process in my band program that if you meet my 45 standards that I've established, I promise you that you'll get a scholarship to college, because the universities are paying kids to go to college, a la Sheldon, McLean. But you have to achieve those levels of excellence. And I want to be able to provide that same opportunity to kids here in the Bahamas, because when I went to the school and I spoke to the kids, they do have dreams, but they don't have a vehicle to understand how those dreams can become a reality. They don't understand the process. When you pick up a trumpet and you hold it the wrong way for the first time, you drop it and all that stuff, and then you learn how to play it, and you're able to play Mozart's concerto. The process between picking it up and being able to play that concerto at a concert is priceless, because you could take that same process and become a doctor. You could take that same process and become an architect, because you're going to never give up. Things are going to get hard. Things are going to challenge you. You're going to feel like quitting. But that perseverance that you applied to get to that point, that level as a musician, you can apply it and transfer that learning into any area of life. Now you are empowered to become whatever it is that you want to become in life, because you know the process. I just don't quit. I keep working until I get it. I repeat. I call it conceptual repetition. You do it over and over and over again until you get it. And that's everything we've done in life. If we can be honest as grown folks and share that process of success with those young people and say that I wasn't born with this opportunity, I earned this opportunity. I worked really, really hard and didn't give up. That's why I'm here. They begin to make the connection between where you're sitting and where they are now, and start to really believe that it's possible.
Mr. Beckford, you're unique in that you have a Caribbean background, and you were able to bridge this divide, right? But some Bahamians would say that you're trying to make these children Americans. and many people believe that is a part of our social problem. Bahamians emulate too much of America, and it is having a negative impact on our society. How do you address that issue?
Well, I would have to challenge anyone that says that. And I have to.
Many people have said that here.
And I would challenge them with the words that the American influence reaches many nations. with media today and cell phones and internet, there's just no way to not have that engine, that machine called the American culture reaching any child around the world. But the infrastructure of providing services and opportunities and programs that allow kids to even take those influences through the American culture and turn them around to learn the process of how you become successful rest on the shoulders of the nation of those children.
But Mr. Beckford, you look at Colin Powell.
Yes.
You look at
Jamaican man.
you look at Holder.
Yes.
Right? You look at Stokely Carmichael.
Wonderful people.
Right? Farrakhan.
Yes.
There's a view that they are where they are because they have Caribbean values.
Okay.
Not no American values. Caribbean values was the driving force for them achieving what they achieved.
There are also other Americans that are not Caribbean that have those same values. Again, when you look at the island itself and you walk around this nation, and you could say there are Caribbean kids on this island who live in an environment that allows them to capture those values. There are people on this island, there are kids on this island, I've met some of them who are firm in their belief. And regardless of what they see on the internet, they still are able to stand on those beliefs. Ultimately, the discipline that's required in order for you to be successful will overshadow any kind of cultural influence that you might encounter. Ultimately, it's the discipline. Colin Powell, all of those guys have one thing in common. They had a vision. They were disciplined through some process. Most of the time back then it was the family. But the family is not the same family it was back then. It's a different structure. Mom's not working. She's not home cooking dinner and welcoming you when you get home anymore. She has to go out there and work just as hard, and probably harder because there's no dad. So now we have to, the government, the society, the community have to create programs that establish a family kind of atmosphere for these kids so they can learn those very same principles that Colin Powell and the others that you mentioned have. It's the principles that allows you to navigate through society, because when you leave that culture, you still have to go deal with the world.
Well, the other side of the coin is that it's the opportunity.
Right.
You have the values, but America offers you opportunities that you can't get in Jamaica or Barbados or St. Kitts.
Hence my point, because the principles will allow you to go into the United States, go into Europe or wherever else you want to, and take advantage of the opportunities that are there. There are opportunities right here on this island. I drive up and down with Mr. Dean, and I'm seeing some very progressive things going on.
But you see, I don't know if I want my kids, right? I mean, they're older now. They have American values. I don't know about
But what about what you do in terms of music that is American?
Yeah.
Music is universal, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So I don't want to disagree with Mr. Enis on the program, but you are not teaching American values.
I was going to get there. I'm so happy you said that. Took it out of my mouth. Because it's not American values. It's foundational values. It's biblical values. The values of the Bible transcend all cultures. And the foundational understanding that there's a greater power, that you are held accountable for the actions, that there is retribution, that you sow seeds that you will harvest later. Those are the characteristics that we have to teach, and those will supersede any kind of cultural influences. We just have to get our kids to understand that. I simply use music as a vehicle, band as a vehicle, to infuse those values into the life of a child, so that whether they decide to live in the United States or whether they decide to live here, then they'll have those cultures. The thing about coming to the Bahamas and doing it here on the island is when a child gets that foundation at home, when he does go abroad and get that education, he's inspired to come back home and touch the lives of people in his community, because this is where his life was touched. And that's why it's so important to come. Why am I inspired to come to Nassau or the Bahamas? I love my wife. I love her dearly. And she shared with me some of the plights that she has as a child here in the Bahamas. And coming here and meeting people like Ruby Saunders and Zelma Lavarity and Audley Dean, and those persons who reach out to the kids, those kids have touched my heart, and I want to see a difference. When I talk to a young lady and she tells me her GPA is a 1.5, and she says it like this: "What's your GPA, young lady?" "Oh, sir, it's a 1.5. She's proud of that 1.5, but that 1.5 is not going to get her into any university in this world. So we have to get her to understand that there's a higher level of academic achievement, and how do I get to that level? I use music as the tool.
Now, there would be people who would say that you are teaching young people how to do things, and we need to teach them how to think, how to be a thinker like Sheldon McLean. How do you teach young people how to think rather than how to do?
Well, the process of doing allows you to become a thinker. It's just like going back to the biking. When you first learn how to ride a bike, you're shifting your weight. In the process of doing the shifting of the weight,
And the balance?
yeah, and the balancing and the navigating through the trees and the cracks on the sidewalk, that process becomes a thought. The synapses occurs in the brain, and it becomes now a thought. It becomes knowledge. And we have to learn, the only way you develop knowledge is through repetition and constant practice until it becomes a way of life. So it's so important that through doing, we teach them how to be thinkers through the process of doing. The whole idea is getting them to wanting to continue through the process before they quit.
Okay, we take this final break on our program, and we'll come right back.